This narrative needs to stop. I'm sick of it. I don't even know how we got here. Ever since OG Chilltown Hoops collab with House of Highlights for the one old head versus 10 Gen Z NBA fans video and said this
is anywhere between 7 and 11.
Where do you have him?
I got him at 11. That's why I have him.
A what?
Yes, I have him outside the top 10. Yes.
11.
For this whole summer, all over social media, I've been seeing so many NBA fans not only say that Kobe Bryant isn't the top 5 NBA player of all time, but they go as far as to say that he's not even top 10. Like, what? Seriously, where did all this sudden Kobe disrespect start? It seems like ever since this video dropped, the Kobe Bryant disrespect has just been on a different level from so many different people. NBA fans, social media pages, even NBA players who played against him who weren't even on his level, saying that all of a sudden he wasn't that good, or acting like his legacy wasn't that great, or that there were certain awards that he got that he didn't deserve. I don't care what anybody says, Kobe Bryant is my GOAT, the greatest of all time, top 1. That's why this whole Kobe isn't top 5 narrative bothers me so much. But I think the biggest reason why this narrative bothers me so much is that for as long as I can remember, Kobe was always at least in the top 5. At least. I'm 21 years old. Ever since Kobe retired in 2016, the top 3 has always consisted of MJ, LeBron, and Kobe. The order was always different for most people, but that's how it always was. And that was when he was alive. But now all of a sudden, now that he's no longer with us, now he's not even top 5 anymore and he's barely top 10. Get out of here, bro. And it's funny because people will sit here and say that everyone started overrating him when he passed away, but I never heard anyone say that Kobe was outside of the top 10 while he was still alive. If anything, everyone started disrespecting him after he died. And I'm telling y'all, this didn't start until after he passed away. The earliest I remember this whole thing starting was around 2022, as I remember there being a whole lot of NBA discourse on Kobe all of a sudden not even being better than Tim Duncan, and since then, there's been this Kobe disrespect and fans are trying to erase his legacy. And let's just be clear, Kobe Bryant is better than Tim Duncan, and this has always been the case. This whole Tim Duncan is top 5 and better than Kobe propaganda didn't start until this decade. Kobe Bryant was literally voted player of the decade in the 2000s, and now all of a sudden after he dies, Tim Duncan, who admittedly was dominant in the same era, but wasn't selected, is somehow better than him. I guarantee nobody was saying that Tim Duncan was a better basketball player than Kobe Bryant in the 2000s. Even after they both retired, which was in the same year, nobody was saying that. Nobody. Now, I'm not expecting everyone to just have Kobe in their top 5, because as much as I believe Kobe is the GOAT, if he is anywhere in your 6 or 7 range, then I can at least respect and accept your opinion despite maybe not fully agreeing. But the moment y'all start saying that he's barely in the top 10 or that he's outside of the top 10, that's when I start losing it. It's the different players that people will put over him too. I already spoke on Tim Duncan, but lately I've been seeing people try to make the case that Steph Curry is a better all-time player than Kobe Bryant. Bro, can we be for real? And just to be clear, Curry has been my favorite player since Kobe retired. I rooted so hard for Curry and the Warriors every year in the playoffs when the Lakers were trash. But Curry is a borderline cone on defense, and Kobe is one of the greatest defensive guards of all time. And both of their offensive outputs are practically equal. But Kobe also has the greater legacy, so how could Curry possibly be better? Then people try to put players like Bill Russell and Wilt over Kobe, and if you say that, I just ignore you automatically. Matter of fact, let me show you guys something. In 2019, The Athletic did an NBA GOAT poll from 117 anonymous NBA players. The results? Michael Jordan first with 73% of votes, LeBron is second with 11% of votes, and Kobe in third with 10. And this was in 2019 before he died. Look how close it was between him and LeBron. Let's go to 2023, 103 anonymous NBA player votes. Michael Jordan first again with 58%, LeBron is second with 33%, and Kobe Bryant third with 6%. And just for another and last and final reference, let's go as early as last year. 133 NBA player votes. Michael Jordan 45%, LeBron 42%, and what do you know, Kobe Bryant at 9.8% at third place. These are votes from actual NBA players, and year after year, Kobe is always in the top 3. And you really expect me to believe that this guy is barely top 10? Okay. I always thought Shaq said it best.
I think Michael Jordan was perfection, right?
Right.
Who was the closest thing next to Mike?
Everyone knows it's Kobe. He was literally a carbon copy of Jordan who was just as good, if not skillfully better than Jordan, but somehow he's not top 5 or even top 10 all of a sudden. The more that I keep saying this, the more it just doesn't make sense to me. This is the biggest case of people trying to rewrite history that I've ever seen. I kid you not, I literally saw a TikTok live the other day of someone saying that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander would be over Kobe Bryant all time if he won another ring. Like seriously, what are we even talking about at this point? I don't see stuff like this being said for any other NBA great. The most distasteful part about all this is that Kobe isn't even here to defend himself from all this slander. Now, I'm not saying that just because Kobe passed away that you need to be respectful and automatically have him in your top 5, but I feel like fans try to use his death as an excuse for why he's boosted up when that's just factually not true. I think the biggest reason I wanted to make this video was that stupid Bleacher Report list that came out recently where they had Kobe outside of the top 10 at 11. That alone is already disrespectful, but then when you learn that Bleacher Report has had multiple articles from different writers placing him as a top 5 player and even the GOAT, it honestly just doesn't make any sense. April 21st, 2012, why Bryant's 2012 season pushes him past Jordan on the all-time list. June 6, 2018, Kobe Bryant, the best basketball player ever. June 3rd, 2018, Kobe Bryant is the greatest basketball player of all time. And these are all before his passing, by the way. I'm telling you, this is propaganda at its finest. Kobe's impact on basketball alone makes him a top 10 player. Whenever anyone shoots a paper ball into the trash can, whose name do you say? He easily had the greatest mentality of any NBA player to ever walk the earth. He changed the course of USA basketball for this generation. Before he joined Team USA in 2008, everyone believed that Americans were starting to digress in basketball because they got 3rd place in 2004, led by Tim Duncan, who couldn't even lead his team to the gold. But anyway, once everyone on the team saw how hard Kobe worked, they followed his lead and started doing his exact routine. That's including greats like LeBron, D. Wade, Melo, Chris Paul, and others. If that's not GOAT stuff, then I don't know what is. It's obvious that I'm upset about this NBA discourse and absolute blasphemy, but let me showcase 3 major and honestly cherry-picked points that I always see people giving for why Kobe Bryant's overrated or why he's not top 10. Starting with... This is probably the most false and overused narrative in Kobe's entire career to try and disprove his legacy. That in his first 3 rings, he was carried by Shaq. This narrative is honestly set out of spite with no actual research done. People like to bring up the 2000 finals where Kobe only averaged 15 points a game, while Shaq averaged 38. But what people always leave out is that Jalen Rose literally admitted to wanting to hurt Kobe on purpose since they already had nobody to stop Shaq, so who was going to stop Kobe who wasn't even in his prime yet?
Well, I don't think I'm hard because I tried to hurt Kobe Bryant in a game. I'm disgusted by it because, you know, I wanted to win that bad that I was willing to basically cheat to do.
If Kobe was really being carried, why would the opposing team intentionally try to hurt him? Which Jalen Rose literally did in Game 2, and Kobe had to miss Game 3 because of it. And what happened when Kobe missed Game 3?
Last shot, and that's it.
They lost. Kobe returned in Game 4 probably way earlier than he was supposed to, and when Shaq fouled out in that same game, who closed out the game with 28 points on a hurt ankle and stopped the series from being tied at 2 apiece? Oh, nobody, just the guy who was carried by Shaq. Kobe managed to average 21, 4, and 4 over the course of the 2000 playoffs with the most dominant player of all time playing with him, and he played majority of the finals on a bad ankle, and you want to tell me he was quote-unquote carried. Look at this graphic. At a certain point in the playoffs in 2001, Kobe was literally leading the team in scoring with the guy that supposedly carried him sharing the court with him. And when it was all said and done, Kobe averaged 29, 7, and 6 over the course of the entire 2001 playoffs, with once again the most dominant player of all time on the court with him. If that's being carried, then I don't know where we are as an NBA community. Let's just throw in 2002 for the fun of it. Kobe averaged 26, 6, and 4 to Shaq's 28, 12, and 2 in the playoffs. These two were literally Superman and Batman. Someone please explain to me how Kobe constantly averaging 20 plus points in both the regular season and the playoffs in the 2000s NBA while playing with the most dominant NBA player of all time is being carried. And keep in mind that literally nobody during that time period could stop Shaq, so they likely had the best players on the other team trying to guard Kobe to try and stop him. Kobe needed Shaq, Shaq needed Kobe. Kobe had just as much of an impact as Shaq because if Shaq somehow wasn't dominating, Kobe was filling that void to help win the games. It's just crazy that this is still even a narrative in 2025. A lot of people try to say that Kobe shouldn't be in the GOAT conversation or is out of the top 10 because of the fact that he only has 1 MVP in his entire 20-year career. But Kobe was robbed of at least 2 MVPs in his career. Obviously, when he played with Shaq, there was no way for him to win MVP because even Shaq only won 1 MVP during that time. And so I know I don't get how some people have Shaq as top 5 when he only has 1 MVP as well, but when it comes to Kobe, y'all try to use that against him all the time. Anyway, let's look at this graphic. Let's cross out 2005 because the Lakers weren't even a playoff team. But I'm going to focus on these 2 years, 2006 and 2007. Now, I've always believed that the MVP award should go to the player who is actually most valuable to their team. And I don't care what anyone says, the 2006 MVP race is the biggest robbery ever. There is no way that a man can average 35, 5, and 4 on a team full of scrubs and not win MVP. Kobe's best teammates were Lamar Odom, and that's it. And somehow he still managed to carry that team to the 7th seed, where they almost beat the Suns, who had the actual MVP in Steve Nash. Nash averaged 19, 4, and 10, and only won MVP because of his team's record. If you take Kobe out that 2006 Lakers team, they're probably the worst team in the league. Team record should not determine who wins MVP, and I've always believed this. Especially since we've seen 6 seeds win MVPs in recent years like Westbrook and Jokic because of how good they were. I still think that Lupe should have won the 2024 MVP, and I was saying that at the time while he was still on the Mavs. 2006 was definitely one of those cases. This was the same year that he dropped 81 and averaged 43 points a game in the month of January. I know I keep bringing up scoring, and I know that that's not all basketball is, but he was dominating on another level and carrying that garbage Lakers team. And the fact that he ended up finishing 4th place in MVP voting for that year overall is crazy to me. If we look at 2007, it's a little less convincing, but he was literally 3rd place in MVP voting and was carrying another trash Lakers team to the 7th seed in the playoffs. The only reason why Dirk won MVP was because of, once again, the record. The Mavs went 67-15 that year to the Lakers 42-40, with Dirk averaging 24-9-3 to Kobe's 31-5-5. But like I said, if you actually stick to the name most valuable player and take Kobe off that Lakers team, they're a bottom team in the league. The only reason those Lakers teams even went anywhere was because of Kobe. Considering that Kobe was in the contention for MVP for these years, despite the team record not being the greatest, just shows how high of a level he was playing at, but they couldn't give it to him off a technicality, which is team record. The stats are 100% there. Also, Kobe Bryant has to be the only NBA player in history to get criticized for winning 2 finals MVPs on his own. I constantly see people bringing up how he wasn't the best player for 3 of his rings, but fail to point out the 2 he won on his own without Shaq. Then we have arguments like Curry over him, but he only has 1 finals MVP out of his 4 rings. That is the end-all be-all of who's a better player, obviously, but why is it that certain accomplishments and narratives only apply to certain players? The goalpost always gets moved. And I feel like those 2 back-to-back rings aren't talked about enough for how hard it was. Kobe leads the NBA all-time at 50-plus win teams being in the playoffs with 25, and he is one of 3 players to lead a team to a championship without a top 75 player of all time. Ironic that Tim Duncan and Curry are the other 2 players that have this feat, and they are the 2 that I mentioned earlier, but that's not the point. Kobe should have at least 2 more MVPs on his resume, point blank. Now this narrative is probably the most disrespectful and distasteful out of all of them. A lot of people have just been labeling Kobe as a shot chucker who never passed the ball. Now even as a Kobe fan, I will admit that he did have some ball hog tendencies. There are countless clips of him being double, triple, and maybe even quadruple teamed, and he still took the shot and didn't get his teammates involved. Kobe being a ball hog was a narrative before his passing and while he was still in the league. Does he have the most missed shots in NBA history? Yes. Is he known for shooting his team out of the 2004 finals? Yes. But I feel like this narrative gets too out of hand despite it being somewhat true. People act like he had reliable teammates after Shaq left. From 2004 to 2008, Kobe was the only person on his team who was a real scoring threat. Do you really think Kobe trusted Smush Parker and Kwame Brown to score and make an effort? Until Pau Gasol got to the Lakers, who was there to pass the ball to? Yeah, even when Pau did get there, he was still trying to take over games and not passing, and he did that plenty of times but got the wins. But to say that he was only a shot chucker is crazy. He's already 3rd all-time on the assist list for shooting guards and averaged 5 assists over the course of his career. And mixed with the whole shot chucker narrative is the whole inefficient narrative, which is also just over-exaggerated. Yeah, he shot 44% from the field over the course of his career, but that's not even bad for NBA standards. That's only 6% away from 50%. The average field goal percentage of a shooting guard from 1996 to 2016 when Kobe played was 43.1. And if you match up true shooting percentage, he averaged 55%, which is literally the same amount as Tim Duncan, who was the same guy who became top 5 overnight in a lot of your eyes. And he's a big man who mostly shot in the paint. And back to the point of Kobe having the most missed shots in history, we can't breeze past the fact that he has the 2nd most made behind LeBron. It goes both ways. The excuses always pile on when it comes to Kobe's legacy. A big example I always see is Game 7 of the 2010 finals, where Kobe shot 6 for 24 and scored 23 points. But what is always left out is that number 1, they literally won the game and the championship. And number 2, he literally had 15 rebounds as a 6'6" guard. Even when he shot bad, he still impacted the game in different ways. This narrative is just upsetting because people act like he always had help or that he did nothing but shoot when he was actually a decent passer and a great defender. But people will always try to find a way to discredit him. It's sickening. Now, this video wasn't to make a plea to make Kobe your GOAT or convince you that he's a top 3 player, but I feel like it's absolutely ridiculous to say that he was never considered a top 3 or top 5 player, or that he's barely even top 10 in general. The 3 major points that I focused on were more to debunk the common excuses and narratives that I see from NBA fans saying why Kobe isn't top 5 or 10. Just look at his resume: 5 championships, 18-time All-Star, 15-time All-NBA team, 12-time to All-Defensive team, with 9 of those being first team, an MVP, 2-time Finals MVP, 2-time gold medal winner, 4th on the all-time scoring list. This resume alone is top 10 worthy. We need to stop with the disrespect. All this discourse didn't start until after he died, and that's a fact. There's obviously people who have never had Kobe in the top 5 or 10, and that's fine. It's a matter of opinion at the end of the day. But I feel like most of this comes from NBA fans who weren't around to see him play or just didn't pay enough attention. So hearing people say that he's the GOAT or top 3 or top 5 is crazy to them, especially after he passed away so suddenly. But I'm telling y'all, for as long as I've been alive, Kobe Bryant has always been at least in the top 5 of all time. Never has he been considered out of the top 10 until now. There are so many clips of current and former NBA players who talk about how good Kobe was and how close he is to Jordan, who is the undisputed GOAT who everyone chases. And you expect him to believe that he's not a top 5 player when there's multiple NBA greats who praise him as a top 3 to 5 player both before and after his death. But I'm done whining for the day, so let me know what you thought of this video and where do you have Kobe Bryant ranked all time. I'm prepared to go back and forth with some of y'all in the comments. I won't let up. But please just stop the disrespect around Kobe's name as if he hasn't been considered a top 3 to 10 great since his retirement. Cause I don't care what anyone says, Kobe Bean Bryant is the greatest basketball player to ever live, and I will die on that hill.